Hi, Pranesh. Thank you so much for joining us on Blitz Business. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hey Ashish, it's great to meet you as well.
Awesome. So let's get started. Pranesh, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
How about myself? Oh, okay. Originally an engineering graduate, decided not to do engineering because, I rather found it like monotonous. Wanted something which was like exciting, which kept me going to office every single day. Around the time when I started, digital marketing was the coolest thing, right? Got into digital marketing, started loving the entire process. Became a native digital marketer. Started using technology tools, etc., and all that. Like eventually became an entrepreneur in 20, right? I'm a part of this social data analytics firm called Qoruz, right? And I am the CEO of Qoruz. We are about a 110 odd people team working with brands like Coke, L'Oreal, Dabur, ITC, Amazon, Amazon Mini, etc., and all that, right? On the other side, me as a person, I like discussing ideas. I keep meeting other newer upcoming entrepreneurs, and I'm a bit of a gamer as well, right? I think that holistically describes who I am personally and professionally.
Let's talk about gaming then first. Baki business and also we'll keep talking. So what are your favorite games and what is the new game in the market which is has captured your attention?
I mean, I have a thing about games which are in the which are set in the 1700s or the 1600s actually. Okay, I loved this game called Ghosts of Tsushima on
Oh,
PS5, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I just read a couple of articles about this new game which is releasing called Rise of Ronin, right?
Oh,
It that is also set in 1600s actually, right? I read a couple of articles that it talks about the old Japan, and you kind of get to explore the old Japan and all that. And for some reason, I'm actually a big fan of the old Japan and the samurais and the Ronins, etc., and all that, right? So I've actually pre-ordered it. I'm waiting for it to get delivered. Right?
amazing. Amazing. So let's talk about then you mentioned about chorus, right?
Yeah.
So what made you first? Let's talk about the journey. Like, why do you wanted to start this?
Multiple reasons actually. I mean, why do I want to start up Chorus, or why do I want to start up in general?
Both.
Okay. I mean, entrepreneurs are like more like are hyper people, right? I mean, they cannot do the same thing like every day and all that. Like, and my story is pretty much the same, right? Let's say if you are asking me to do something, and if I start learning to do it, and after a while, if I get to know how to do it, and then I get to a certain level of mastery, right? I get bored of it, right? So, and for me, any typical job was like that. If and I used to in the previous different roles I was doing a role of an analyst, a role of some level of a product manager, content head, content strategist, etc., and all that, everything around the social media, right? Me by nature, I get bored very soon. As soon as I like I told, as soon as I get this thing, so that naturally inclined me. You know what? Probably something which will excite me and keep me going on is like entrepreneurship. That is one part of the personal story, or reason for why am I an entrepreneur and not a 9 to 5 guy, right? And the second part of it was actually what I experienced in the professional journey itself, right? Being in the social media industry ever since the beginning of my career, I noticed this this trend of influencers coming up, right? And I'm talking about like 2012, 2013, when the influencer term was itself was a very fresh term, right? It became a mainstream kind of a thing only towards 20s, and creator economy started becoming popular around 2016. Before that, creator economy and all didn't exist. It was just plain influencers, or rather, it was just plain Twitterati, right? I don't know how we're gonna call that like now that it's called X anymore, but yeah, so Twitterati, right? So this new medium which is picking up called influencers, who are standalone voices who are competing with, during that point of time, traditional publishers like your Times of India itself, right? A single guy on Twitter had as much reach as much as Times of India on Twitter, right? And I started exploring what are the other tools which are there, how big can this get. And to be very frank, around 20 there was not many articles, but everybody said that this is going to go big, this is going to go big. This is even before Instagram picked up and all that, right? And I was like, okay, you know what, in my last job, I was a digital manager, and I was working with a couple of other brands who are my clients, right? I started using these influencers for brand benefits. We used to have meetups. We used to have some sort of giveaways, and sometimes what we also used to do is like we used to run brand contests, but via these influencers. Brand handle to this guy, and then this guy will run a contest on behalf of the brand, right? Every time when we try to do that, like, what we noticed during that point of time is that the organic reach was like higher as compared to what we were doing as a brand effort, right?
Oh,
As a brand effort, like what we used to do is like post about I'm talking about 2012, 2013, right? I mean, like we once in a while, I mean, like we used to post a joke. Now it is called a meme, but during that time we just called it jokes, right? We used to post a couple of jokes or something like that, and then like we will post one or two contests and season's greetings as always. I mean, like, whenever there is a Holi or something coming up, you see a flurry of brands posting about Happy Holi and all that. Like, this was the traditional trend, but whenever like out of this we were exploring with influencers, the organic reach was as much as 2x or probably even 3x sometimes, right? Okay, you know what, like, and my role was actually come up with cool solutions which we can sell to brands, and then like possibly win any awards in one of these award ceremony. Okay, started using influencers right, left, and center, right? Any idea, I'll somehow find a way to actually include an influencer or something like that. And during that time I worked with Pepsi, Tropicana, Mountain Dew, Indigo Airlines,
oh wow.
Michelin tires.
You were working with which?
In the sense, I was working with an agency, and then I was handling all of these brands as a
So
social media manager.
which agency you were working with?
Two agencies actually. One was an agency called Zapak. It doesn't exist anymore. Zapak used to be a gaming company, and then it also had a social
Okay.
media arm, right? And second one is a company called Webitude, which got acquired by Hindustan Times. Okay, this also doesn't exist anymore because it got fully amalgamated into Hindustan Times.
Sure. All right, awesome. So we were discussing, how your experience with the working with brands sort of, led you to create this. So in one line, if you tell us about the company, what does it do?
We help brands make sense of the influencer economy. We help them understand what they should be ideally doing based on certain data inputs, and when they are actually working with these influencers, what they should be monitoring. And after working with these influencers, understand what has impacted and what delta did they even make as a change from multiple parameters, right? I mean, like, the whole, like, creator economy right now is slightly staggered in terms of like how brands are working with them. The idea is to create that structured play for brands to understand this is the right way to work.
Understood. So let's talk about this influencer economy a little bit, about this segment. So give us a sense, like how many influencers are there, like how much are they earning or something of sort, to give a sense of what is this entire space about. Am I also an influencer, very small one?
So influencers, I mean, like, at least there are multiple reports. The latest report which I read, in India there are amateur influencers or amateur content creators is as much as 8 crore, right? Out of which
Wow.
you can assume around 4 lakh as professional content creators. When I say professional content creators, they may or may not have cracked that revenue code. Except for cracking the revenue code, they have possibly cracked the content creation code, right? And out of these, about 1 lakh would be the ones who are making money consistent enough that like they don't need to pick up a white collar or a 9 to 5 kind of a job.
That's quite a number, from 8 crore to only 1 lakh people. I don't know what percent it is, like less than 1% people making money out of
Less
it.
than 1%. I mean, like, this is similar to the curve which you see on how people are earning and how wealth is distributed among different Indians, right? It's a very steep curve, like, where, like, it starts like this, but it immediately drops down and then it goes flat. Pretty much the same thing with respect to how creators are earning as well.
So how do creators make money?
No, if that question was easier to answer, right? There are different stages, right? I mean, like, when I was like, we keep actually analyzing the life cycle of a typical creator, right? There are different stages, right? The first stage is to actually get to a discipline of making content. Okay. The second stage is growing an audience and understanding your own audience. Okay, what is working out, what is not working out, right? Once you cross these two stages and pretty much 60-70% of them just drop even this, right? Because it's not like, you start creating content and then you'll suddenly go viral and then, like, you're this thing, right? Then comes the monetization part, right? uh, right now, as in at least 75-76% of them make money via brand deals, right? So brand deals is the easiest way to immediately get into making money. After that, based on the niche which you're operating in, and the category which you're operating in, you will find multiple other ways to make money, right? For example, a guy who's actually talking about finances, he can start selling courses, or, like, he can start giving maybe even personal talks in different corporates, etc., and all that. Those are other ways of making money, right? Whereas if you're restricted to something like a fashion as an industry, like, other than brand deals and probably affiliate marketing, there is nothing else which you can explore, right? So it depends on the industry which you're operating in, and then, like, the kind of content which you're creating as well.
So how can someone get brand deals?
See, I mean, like, once you create a niche and have a sustainable following going on, right? Brands usually will try to reach out to you by themselves. Okay, there are, like, multiple brands which are, and especially after Facebook reach and Instagram reach started going down, not as much as how it was like 3 years, 4 years back, or something like that. Brands keep discovering newer influencers who they want to collaborate with, right? And there are, like, like, easily around 500 to 600 odd influencer agencies, right, who actually do the job of connecting brands and influencers, right? You will definitely get found by one of those guys. It's if you are doing a great job at creating content, and if your content is, like, going somewhere, right? Besides that, networking with these agencies can help you. Probably use a little bit of LinkedIn, try to find out the top influencer marketing agencies, and then, like, send them requests, maybe share a couple of your content pieces which actually did something, create a professional media kit, share this media kit around. Those are ways where you get started with the network of brands and agencies who actively work with influencers.
And Pranesh, how does someone go from, you mentioned 60-70% people drop off by creating content. So that journey from creating content and that monetization, there is a, I assume, lot of hard work, time needs. Are there agencies or companies which help people to go through that journey if someone has not cracked it yet, the monetization, and they are in sort of middle, and then they are like, कुछ नहीं हो रहा, कुछ हो रहा है, बहुत कुछ, they are just like stuck. Are there companies like there to help people out, creators out?
Ashish, to be frank, like, there are talent agents who can help, right? But talent agents require you to get to a certain amount of following before they actually pick you up, start working with you, and then, like, help you actually get a consistent revenue or a consistent, like, inflow of brand deals, right? Because, like, how a talent agent typically works is, let's say you are already making some $100, right? They will say, they will sign a deal with you saying that, what, I'm going to exclusively represent you, and I'm going to start, like, trying to pitch you to multiple brands, right? In exchange, they will charge 10% of every single buck you make, right? But you should be making some bucks so that they are able to actually do some justice to the work which they are doing, right? If you are not making any money at all, talent agents are, I mean, like, averse to working to you, unless until you have a huge following, like tremendous amount of following. Probably, like, you don't know the complete background of how to actually get into the brand deals or something like that, but you have amassed, say, 1 million followers with a good engagement rate or something like that. Only exception cases, like, these talent agents help you, right? Recently I have been seeing there are also creator accelerators who are coming up, right? I don't know the success of the creators who are working with these creator accelerator programs, right? Quite a bit of them actually are there in Bangalore itself, right? And in fact, like, if you are on Instagram, you can check out this thing called the Lit School. The Lit School claims they are graduating professional creators, right? They call it the MBA of creators, or, like, becoming a professional of creators, right? um, those are other things which you can explore in terms of understanding how to go about it.
What is it called? Blitz School.
Lit school.
LIT School. Understood. We'll post the link for our listeners on chat. Understood. So, and then sort of the Pranesh, so tell us some of your work. Your company has done some live examples in terms of what you have actually achieved for creators, or what kind of work you're doing.
So, I mean, most of our work are like behind the scenes, right? We are a data analytics company, and then these are not things which usually get covered in the mainline PR or something like that, right? The story to tell is rather a dry story, right? I mean, in the sense you're like how we helped, let's say, even working with Amazon. Is Amazon used to work with a plethora of creators, but there was no structure behind it, right? Now Amazon started creating benchmarking programs based on which they were qualifying what kind of creators they should be working with, right? Amazon being the largest organizations ever, there are multiple verticals which work with creators, from books, kitchen appliances, entertainment, gaming, etc., and all that, right? Now the central team got together and then told that, like, okay, you know what, like, we're working with multiple creators across multiple segments, right? But how do we even measure the output of this, right? And what is a logical way to say, okay, this guy I'm going to work with, this guy I'm not going to work with? And if there are so many brand managers are going to be there, what is the single equation or single truth, right? So we work with Amazon to create that. We work with Amazon to help them benchmark these creators, and then we deployed our software in their office as well, right? And that became the Bible of influencer selection, right? Now we have done a similar thing with L'Oreal, we have done a similar thing with Coke, etc., and all that. Very analytical, very data driven kind of stuff, which usually is very boring to talk about.
So basically, you're saying you have to help me understand. So basically, you analyze certain KPIs of creators, or
Absolutely.
like their engagement rate and etc., and then you provide that to
Engagement rate,
brands, or
past performance, what kind of content works out with the creator, what is your audience metrics like, the location of your audience, interest buckets of the audience, and possibly the age of your audience and all that. The idea is to arrive at some sort of an impact metrics, and use that as a standard framework for hiring your influencers.
understood. Understood. So Pranesh, where is this entire economy heading? This creator economy, like up future, what is the upcoming trend in this space?
I mean, this upcoming trend is like, how to say this, right? The methods of monetization around creators, that is getting more evident, right? I mean, like, people used to believe that like creators can make more money in like multiple formats. I discussed about, like, people are also understanding that like there are certain categories which will make money in certain ways. Majority other categories may not make money, may not have multiple avenues of making money, right? What's currently happening is, like, this information which I just told you is like actually becoming a common knowledge among creators, right? And hence more vertical solutions are coming up, which is gonna uh, help the process of this success or earning the first buck easier, right? And these tools are going to make the job of creators much more simpler, right? And but the success rate, while the success rate is still going to remain the same, people will know that, okay, you know what, like, this is how I'm going to make it, and it's going to become like, some sort of standard steps. Okay, you know what, like, this is what I'm supposed to do at this stage, 5 things to achieve before I move on to the next stage. So those kind of like evident ways of like graduating into becoming a full-time creator is going to become more simpler in the coming days.
Understood. Understood. And in this, so what form of content is working best? Because I have personally seen a trend wherein people, there is a debate. I think a long form, short form videos, or like what exactly is working right
Ashish, to be very frank, like, this is under a lot under the control of the social media platform in itself, right? I mean, like, for example, TikTok was the one who first introduced short form videos as a thing, right? Now TikTok is chasing long form videos, because what they have understood is like, okay, if I do long form videos, the possibility for me to insert more brand ads between the creator content is higher. So I make more money per
now?
content rather than less money per content in short form videos. Now TikTok is changing their algorithm to
Oh,
promote long form videos. Okay. So
wow.
it is purely subjected to what the platform wants to achieve. And you're just a subject to the platform, right? And same thing, Instagram, earlier when I used to write content or something like that, I used to write long, like, around 2 paragraph, 3 paragraph kind of content. right? This was around about like a year and a half back when I started becoming consistent on LinkedIn. After that, I realized that nobody's reading that, right? Then I moved towards writing 4 lines and then probably with an image or something like that, right? That used to get me really good views and impressions till at least around about a month or probably a month and a half back. Now I started reading that, like, I at least read a couple of articles by other LinkedIn experts who are saying that LinkedIn is also now promoting long form content, and LinkedIn's algorithm thinks that if it's a long form content, it's an insightful piece of content, right? And you know what, I started creating like, long paragraphs all over again, right? So this is subject to what the platform wants to achieve. It's less to do with what you want to do.
But that means, Pranesh, like it's very fickle. Whatever the creator is doing one day may not work the other day, and she may be just totally be gone. Like,
Absolutely. I mean, like, I'm sure you would have spent time reading that podcast where Tanmay Bhatt was telling that, like, YouTube wants a new Mr. Beast every 2 years, right? And
oh,
I mean, like, Mr. Beast himself is like trying to understand how to, like, increases like longevity inside the platform, right? In fact, like, he recently signed a deal with Amazon Studios to create content for Amazon Studios instead, right? For I think it's $100 million deal or something like that, right? So yeah, it is a very fickle world, right? I mean, if like, let's say you are the CEO of Instagram, right? You don't want to claim that your top creators are this 10, and then you don't want to say the same thing after 5 more years, correct? Your platform becomes stale if the same 5 guys are on the top, right? So you, to keep your audience afresh, you don't have a choice but to create newer stars. And the older stars, yeah, they have to find newer tricks or probably shift genres, or maybe even actually try to build a separate place where they are actually holding this audience, not within the platform itself.
that's very insightful, Pranesh, because I never thought that way. It makes sense. Now, if I'm running Instagram, I'll be like, ये 10 लोग का बहुत हो गया अब मैं 10 लोग ले गया.
Remember the
You
days
know?
when you used to see the Kabi lame guy? I mean, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I mean, like Lame or Lame, but the guy who used to do this,
Hmm.
right? Do you see any more of those, that
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
more frequently? You don't see that guy in your feed that often, right? It's just like, I have seen enough of that guy, right? So I mean, like, I don't know whether the platform recognized it or, like, the platform removed him even before I realized.
अभी तो what I am seeing is डॉली चाय वाला.
Yeah, that's another trend, right? I mean, like, like, he's gonna be out of the trend pretty soon as well.
What is with this guy like Bill Gates and all? ये तो बहुत ज्यादा नहीं हो गया मतलब क्या? What is?
That's
कुछ तो
just
आप
like,
inside
you
दो इसकी
latching on to
analytics.
a trend and then, like, creating some, like, some stories, right? I mean, like, and it is fun. I mean, it's you'd never expect Bill Gates to say one chai, please. And then, like, it was just a fun, pure, funny content.
How did this sort of have happened? There must have some Bill Gates guy who approached Dolly Chaiwala or Dolly Chaiwala as a talent agency. Like, how does this sort of thing can
Actually,
happen?
Dolly Chaiwala
Like,
doesn't
what
have a
is the logistics?
talent agency. Of course, like, Bill Gates must have a huge PR engine running, right? And I'm like, I know at least, like, who's managing the PR engine for BMG Foundation, right? So there is a huge PR engine which is working out for Bill Gates, right? And it ties back with Bill Gates' story of trying to uplift the tier 3 India or the rural villages, and then help them with technology. And in fact, like, I think most of his campaigns have been about, like, health and hygiene, talking about, like, mosquitoes, etc., and all that, right? So, and it feels natural for Bill Gates to appear on a video with him rather than, like, talking with the Mark Zuckerbergs or Elon Musk of the world.
I mean, it's just very fascinating, Pranesh, when I'm talking to you about all these things. And the fickleness has an advantage for new creators, right? And I mean, because then they can come up to the top. It will be a long and hard journey for sure. I mean, but hey, there is a shot they have at least.
Absolutely, at least they have a shot. Otherwise, like, it almost feels like, it's a hierarchical game, and then, like, you're always in the bottom of the pyramid.
So, what are the some creators which you are seeing their downfall has begun? Let's talk about that.
No, no, no. I I won't say downfall or anything of that sort, right? I mean, like, but the reality is, like, see, the smart creators understand that it's a business at the end of the day, right? You are gonna peak at a point of time. After a point of time, you're gonna diverse. Once you start diversing, like, you make some sort of an asset creation, and eventually fame is just a time bound thing. Nobody's gonna be famous forever. The at least the smarter ones, like, understand that, and then, like, they diversify, and then they start becoming professional businessmen of sorts, right? It's not like, they're just creating content. They know what business they are in, and content creation becomes the marketing element of that business, not just the whole and soul of what they are, right? Yeah, I mean, like, and hence they don't die out. At least the large ones, they don't die out. They diversify and then start making assets quick. I mean,
So let
some
me
of them actually even have finance managers and asset managers who are helping them do that. A lot of creators are even investors, actually.
so let me rephrase, Pranesh. Creators who have pivoted from content.
Pivoted from content, it's not a pivot. I mean, like, see, for example, let's take even Tanmay Bhatt, right? I mean, like, he runs an agency which is called Moonshot, right? And a lot of, I mean, of course, a lot of the cred ads are done by Tanmay Bhatt. You cannot call it pivot, right? Because Tanmay Bhatt doing the content creation is like the marketing aspect of he getting that business, right? He makes more bucks per ad by doing that on cred, rather than, like, making bucks via one single Instagram post, right? Probably, like, any of these ads are in tune of at least 25 to 30 odd lakhs per piece, right? Starting from 25 to 30 odd lakhs per piece, and it must have other distribution elements, etc., and all that, right? Now, how do you, I mean, like, if he's not this content creator by doing this vlogs on brand promotions, etc., and all that, right? The possibility that he gets this gig is lower, right? So you cannot call it a pivot. So his content creation is nothing but marketing of his original business, which is agency business.
Interesting, interesting. I think Tanmay Bhatt does a lot of things, right? I mean, it's hard to track. Even I mean, he does vlog, memes,
Absolutely. So
whatnot, whatnot
that's
he's doing.
typical diversification, right? That's typically like how, like I told, people creating multiple assets. So he knows that, like, okay, I think, like, he has one more channel around AI itself, right? Where he talks about multiple tools which are coming in AI, right? So that's smart. I mean, like, capitalizing on whatever is new coming in and then start creating media houses out of it.
So I'm just circling back to the brand deal. So how much a creator earn? I think that's a question which keeps coming, and there is no right or wrong answer. I mean, there are so many reels, everything. Someone says some number or something. Like a typical brand deal, an influencer, or let's say 100,000 followers or a million. Like, what is a typical number are we talking about here in terms of brand deals?
Brand deals, right? I mean, like, somebody, let's talk. I mean, all of this is dependent on which category you are in. Okay. Let's take something like a travel. Somebody who's creating travel content and has around about 1 million following will be choosy about the kind of content which they are working with, right? And the kind of brands which they are working with. And they will have their own league of brands, right? And then they want to work with such brands only, right? So those guys can get anywhere between 2 to 3 deals a month, right? But each of these deals will be in tune of 5 to as much as even 8 lakhs. So 3 deals, you make 24 lakhs a month,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Now, if you are again the same travel content creator, but you have around about 10,000 followers, you'll be making about, probably you can work with as much as like 6 or 8 brand deals. But the value of these brand deals, if you are having only 10,000 followers or something like that, would probably be 3K per deal.
Oh, wow. Very small.
Yeah. So you're doing around about 8 deals. You're making around 25,000 bucks approximately a month. Yeah.
And what does a brand actually get? Is there any KPI which actually reflects, or otherwise it's just like marketing? We just put in money.
No,
This
of
is the
course, like,
budget we have. We have to spend anyway. Or does it actually translates into a sales number, or do we have some sort of idea about that?
so Ashish, the KPI marketing definitely has KPI. Okay. Any form of marketing definitely has a KPI, right? It can be reach, it can be impressions, or it can be even repositioning of a brand. Okay, a brand is known, but then the brand is creating a new entity, and then they want to reposition themselves. For example, Decathlon is like, had a previous logo, and now they have come up with a new logo, new value proposition, etc. All that, like, they may even do a campaign around that, saying that, what, we are new, this is our new logo, etc. and all that, right? While that technically cannot get you sales, but it, I mean, like, reinforces in the person that, okay, what, this Decathlon brand is continuously evolving, right? From even those kind of things to, like, maybe tying up with the creator as an affiliate marketer, you can expect some sort of a sales, depend on what category of brand you are and how much is your brand value in the market. Other than that, right? So the potential collaboration with the creator, depending on the type of creator, depending on the size of the brand you are, can vary between trying to get general reach, or maybe even a brand perception change, right? Or, like, get eventually sales, right? Let's say you are a
Very
new brand which is just starting, right? You cannot expect sales happening immediately, right? Because people are not going to buy your brand if there is no brand awareness, right? So in the early stages, you are doing a lot of these influencer deals just to get the word of mouth about your brand existence out.
very interesting. So in all of this, you mentioned, like when we were discussing about the numbers deal size. So which are the top categories which makes the most money for an influencer? Which are the categories an influencer should be? Like he's like, Abhi I'm doing this, but isme paisa nahi hai. Let's switch it to, let's say, travel. Which are those top three categories which are making money right now?
See, again, all of this depends on what is the rest of the world which is chasing, right? For example, around the time when COVID was just over, I'm talking about 2022, early 22, mid 22, and all that, right? Travel creators started getting a lot of deals, right? Because people were waiting to get out, and then everybody was splurging money on travel and all that, right? Travel creators were making a killing during that point of time. The same travel creators were not making any money at all during COVID. During COVID, the guys who used to make money were the entertainment and the comedy creators, right? Similarly,
Oh,
again in 2021, 2022, when there was a wave of fintech funding, fintech creators made a killing, right? And when the money dried up, they are not making us that much, right? I mean, like, when the money dried out, like, your typical fintech startups stopped spending, and the only available options for you was actually working with the traditional banks like your HDFC or SBI or ICICI, and probably even pick up a couple of deals about insurance and all that, right? It's not as cool as promoting stocks or promoting Web3 or promoting Bitcoin, right? So when that trend is out, you cannot make money as well, right? Now, I mean, like, now, of course, everybody's talking about AI, etc. and all that. Who is going to talk about AI is going to make bucks.
wow. Wow. I mean, it just sounds so stressful because the trend is also shifting. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
So it's not like you will not make money at all, okay? You will make money when the wave is on. You will make a lot of money when the wave is on, right? When the wave is not on, you still make sustainable amount of money, right? And these things keep coming in cycles. I mean, like, you never know when is the next innovation which is going to happen in travel tech again, right? When travel tech is going through a next round of innovation, of course, all these creators will again start making money. I mean, a lot of money.
And so, Abhi, AI, there today is AI trend. And we haven't talked about AI at all.
AI, EV, all of these things. In fact, like, EV is also a trend.
So what is, let's talk about AI. So what is your Pranesh take on AI?
Bro, I mean, like, like, if I were to be 100% honest, I'm scared, right? I'm scared because I don't know what it is replacing when. I just hope it doesn't replace my own role, right? But other than that, like, genuinely, I'm scared, right? In the sense, the newer technology, I mean, one is like, how all of this technology is going to be used and moderated. That is one part. And the second is, can I catch up with the speed at which technology is changing? India as a country itself, you can say, is lagging in AI. Whatever, at least our entrepreneurs, at least most of our entrepreneurs are building, is on top of chat GPT models or other models which are in US, right? We're not natively building AI at the speed at which the US is building AI, right? So, and hence, generally, as an entrepreneur who's sitting in India and then observing the trend, not being fully driving the trend in some level, I am scared. That's the blunt reality. right? On how it's gonna change the world, that's like, that's, I don't know, dude. I mean, these guys keep coming up with some crazy shit.
Mm. I mean, I agree. It's things are moving fast. You never know the direction it will take. So yeah, 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 yeah. But very fascinating. मतलब Pranesh, आपने मेरा तो पूरा brain this entire space. It's very fascinating. It's just my thought process is just like running a left, right, center. Key this segment. A lot of things are happening. So where is the now let's touch upon where is the opportunity. एक तो हो गया creator हो गया, एक there is the other side is the brand deal, but now someone wants to enter into this space. Where is the opportunity in terms of apart being creator or a solution provider? Where can someone fit in? Because we have a lot of people who wants to start business in different space, but for this space, where is the opportunity?
See, I mean, like, especially in the current economy where the world is moving towards a cash trapped kind of economy, right? Anybody who's leveraging AI, let's say if you want to create an agency, I'll just say, let's say if you want to create a content agency, right? Earlier, when you wanted to content create an agency, what you typically go by is like probably hire 4-5 interns, pay them anywhere between 5 to 15,000 bucks per month, and then start generating some kind of a cash flow, right? And then start, getting experts, and then form an agency, right? Now, if you want to do the same job of a content agency, right, you don't need a lot of manpower to become a content agency, right? You use a couple of tools, and then, like, you help yourself perform 10x, and you can possibly make money as a one person agency, right?
Wow.
That is the trend which everybody is speaking about, right? You use the right tools to become one person business, right? You operate at the same efficiency of a 5 people or a 10 people company, right? Without even having that resources, leveraging AI and creating businesses out of thin air, right? That is the potential which is promising. And in fact, like, even in Chennai, I had seen 2 or 3 different people saying that I create content with AI, and then I'm a full-fledged agency for you, right? That's smart. That's a very smart
Wow.
positioning.
I keep getting these messages on LinkedIn or Instagram. They are like, we will create content for you and we'll post daily, and this will increase your engagement by X percent, 100% or something. And I never bought that idea, but maybe it's good. They are doing it. I mean, they must be delivering on those
Ashish, you are not buying that idea, right? Obviously, there is somebody else out there who's buying that idea. Buying that idea in the sense like paying up for it, right? And hence, most agencies are existing.
Yeah. That is true. I mean, yeah, maybe I don't understand this space so well, so that's why I just do it for fun. So that may be the one angle to it. But out of all these, let's talk about, like, so there are platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, Insta, YouTube. Anything else I'm missing? Which is the most, from creator perspective, which is the most profitable one, on where they most success can be seen? TikTok and also is banned in India, but out of this, or if I'm missing anything, where should someone focus? Now you're talking to new age creators. They want to start.
Yeah. So quick success versus long-term success, right? Quick success is Instagram for you. In the sense, you can get to the stage of monetization faster on Instagram, right? But if you want to grow,
You mean by making those dancing videos?
any of it, dancing video, or like you pretend to be talking to somebody and then like make it look like as if you're a thought leader, which a lot of people do these days, right? They actually look somewhere and then the screen is like this way. It appears as if like they are talking to somebody else, and then they're giving an interview, but they're not giving an interview. It's just like they're talking to a wall, right? And I have seen anyone from a real estate agent to a financial expert or even content creation experts doing that, right, on Instagram. All of them claiming that they're an expert, and then they will help you build a 6-figure number or a 7-figure number in, say, 6 months, 1 year, etc., and all that, right? All of those guys are making money, right? And they quickly start making money, right? But if you want long-term success, at least as of today, YouTube is a more sustainable way of making long-term success, because the avenues on how to make money increases at least by another 50-60% if you are on YouTube, right? Affiliates as a model cannot work on Instagram yet. Affiliates as a model works beautiful on YouTube. You can actually have multiple brand collaborations within the same content piece in YouTube. But whereas when you typically do brand collaboration, you create only one single piece of content per YouTube reel. Sorry, only one brand collaboration per Instagram reel, right? Whereas when you do a long form YouTube content, right, you probably can even associate with 2 or 3 different brands in the same video, right? Um,
Mm.
and obviously YouTube in itself is generous about paying to creators as compared to Instagram, right? YouTube pays a portion of their ad revenue to creators, whereas Instagram is still not doing that very actively. So and hence, for you to quickly start making money, Instagram is your option. But if you want to create a sustainable source of revenue, you will start moving towards YouTube.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think that's a very key insight. And in today's time, are vlog any good? Like in terms of monetization, are people still making vlog? I mean, I used to follow some creators back in the day, but I have also vlog, at least seeing vlogs from my perspective, I can share. बहुत ही decline हो गया, my curve at least. Is it like the trend everywhere? Are people making vlogs, or is it working, or what
See,
is it?
vlogs, you can still make content as long as you're able to hold the attention of audience in your journey, right? A lot of vloggers, I
Hmm.
mean, like, I still see, I mean, in Tamil Nadu, I started seeing a lot of vloggers actually having as much as like 300, 400K, views per video and all that. And these guys do things
Wow.
like, okay, I'm gonna do a haul in this area. I'm gonna shop all crazy electronics and I'm gonna review all crazy electronics and all that, right? That is typically like a vlog. You cannot call it technology content, because like this guy is just buying random things and then reviewing it, right? And he's not a typical reviewer as well, right? Or this guy suddenly says that, like, okay, I'm gonna try to live with 100 rupees as food, like, for the whole day by eating in multiple outlets, not gonna spend more than 100 rupees, right? These are like, entertainment content around what happens in his typical day, and then he's creating content out of it. It's still a vlog, right? He's able to hold 200, 300,000 people in one single video. If he's able to do that, he's going to make money, right? But
Wow.
a lot of guys start running out of ideas soon, and then they start pivoting into one single vertical.
Ah, and there is this kid very famous on YouTube with big specs he gets 1 million views. I never understood why this guy, I'm forgetting the name. He makes like वो घर पे जाता है something like this kid. I'm sure you know. I'm forgetting the
I'm
name.
like, I
He's
think
like,
I get him, but I don't remember his name. The idea is like, he knows his audience, he knows what
उसमें
works.
कुछ हो नहीं रहा.
So there are people who are like, used to consume content about him who relate to his life, right? I mean, it's not like they're sitting and watching it. Probably they are doing something else, and then like the TV is a second screen, and then they are watching it,
Yeah,
right? For those guys, it just works.
yeah,
You know what? Like, you're not focusing, and then you're trying to get entertainment. You're just trying to keep a portion of your brain occupied, and hence a TV is running on the simultaneously, or
yeah.
a phone is on simultaneous, like, running his video or something like that. Those guys, it works. I mean, for example, let's take
Yes,
even
yes.
this pretty popular show or pretty popular channel called Village Food Factory in Tamil Nadu, right?
Okay.
This guy usually cooks something, right? And once they start cooking, there is very less conversation or visual which is going on, right? It serves as a
Hmm.
second screen for you. Whenever looking at it, you feel a sense of calmness. That's all. It doesn't distract you from your core work, right? And it will be like
True.
a 20-minute kind of a video where these guys are doing nothing but cooking. They're not telling you the instructions of cooking. They're just cooking, and then they're cooking it probably in some farm or something like that. It looks charming, appealing, mentally soothing for you to watch. Beyond that, it's not like a typical entertainment. In that case, it'll be running simultaneously, and I will be working on my laptop.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's very true. Yeah, I didn't looked at by this through this lens, but yeah, I mean that's the way I also consume such sort of different form of content. It doesn't take any effort. It's just there. My brain, little part of my brain is just engaged, and I'm happy with it. Wow. I mean, it is fascinating, but overall, the then the thing is, हमारा attention span तो गया. My attention span is so less out of all this content, watching, consuming day in day out, Insta or everything. There is something happening or the other. So, what to do about that? I mean, I know it's good for you and your business, but
That's something which, like, which, to be very frank, even I have not figured out. I have a very less attention span, right? Sometimes I even, like, while playing a game, I'll simultaneously be watching a movie, and I'm like, what am I even doing? Right? I'm not fully into the movie, neither am I fully into the game.
yeah, that's yeah. I mean, or maybe you're just super skilled at it now. You are like, I'm a ninja. I can watch a movie and a game together.
It's information overload, to be very frank.
Yeah, I think there has to be some research done. You know, what's the impact in, apart from its smaller attention? I mean, it must be affecting our lives in different form or fashion. I can assume, but not. I don't know how, but there will be some impacts, some long-term impacts.
Absolutely.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Thanks a ton, Pranesh, for your time. Matlab, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it is a very fascinating space, and your insights were very interesting. And what you're doing, and this entire space is just very fascinating, to be honest. Anything you would like to share, Pranesh?
It was great speaking to you, Ashish. I mean, like, and speaking about the non-work aspects of work was fun as well, right? I mean, like you told, most of this is just business, right? But when you look at it in reality, I myself am a subject of this business, right? I myself like consume this content, and I know that, like, somebody is making out of this money out of this content, or making money out of my attention span.
That is true. I think everyone is a subject of it in the end.
Absolutely.
It has consumed everyone. Awesome.
True. True.
Awesome. Thanks a ton, Pranesh.
Great meeting you, Ashish.
Awesome to have you, and really wish you all the best. And if you have any new insights, ping us. We'll have you another time also.
Definitely, we'll do that. Cool. Cool. Thanks a lot, Ashish.